Frankie Edgar, dog. Come on. The answer. Number 8 ranked in the bantamweight division against Chito Vera, number 13th ranked in the bantamweight division. Now, this is a fight that got announced kind of like quite a while ago, man, but it's still kind of surprising to see because Frankie Edgar, is coming off of that KO loss where he got turned into a statue by the Sandman, Corey Sandhagen. And Chito Vera, man, he's just continuing, his streaky ways, right? So in his last 5, win, loss, win, right? He beats Andre Ewell. He TKOs him in the round 3, loses to Song Yadong, unanimous decision. TKOs, knocks out Sean O'Malley, even though some say that never happened, right? He TKOs Sean O'Malley in the first round, win. Loses to Jose Aldo, unanimous decision, where Jose Aldo showed off some of his grappling chops, man, some of the underrated aspects of his game. Then gets back in the win column against Davey Grant. So it's been very, very hard for Chito Vera to put together 2 wins or even 2 losses. But, they say you're either winning or you're learning. You're winning or you're growing. So, and I think that Chito Vera, man, he's got an opportunity to actually put a streak together here against Frankie Edgar. Now, Frankie Edgar is 2-3 in his last 5, but he's fought killers, bro. He's fought Cub Swanson, UD win. Max Holloway, lost, UD, clearly. Korean Zombie, lost TKO round 1. Pedro Munoz, win, split decision, even though AJ... That's a contested win right there. Media scored that fight 19-4 in favor of Pedro Munoz. So some could say robbery. I'll just let you decide for that, folks. And then, Corey Sandhagen, he loses. So arguably, he could be like 1-4 in his last 5, but he's 2-3, and he has a very, very tough opponent in Marlon Vera coming up right here, man. So how do you see this fight playing out, AJ? If you're Frankie Edgar, I mean, you need a win. You need a win. So by any means possible. If you're Chito Vera, you got to figure out the puzzle that is the time-tested OG veteran, former champion Frankie Edgar. How does this fight play out in your eyes, AJ?
See, me personally, man, I think Frankie Edgar is going to be on that front foot. This dude is so well trained. I was watching, I watched the Corey Sandhagen knockout, which, didn't give the best tell of Frankie Edgar. But then I watched the Pedro Munoz fight and a couple others after that. And this dude is so well trained. He almost looks robotic. Like he has everything, and that's not like a joust or a jab or anything, man. This dude is so good that he looks like exactly how you want it. If you showed somebody a film and like, yo, this is the perfect fighter, go watch Frankie Edgar, because everything, no wasted movement, head stays offline, feet move at the same time as his hands do, but his head stays off center line, so he's hard to hit. This dude is really good, man. All about movement. Very classic wrestler. So I do see this one playing off where Frankie Edgar is taking that front foot, taking the pressure approach, where Marlon Vera is trying to land those leg kicks, trying to strike from range, and then Frankie Edgar ends up taking him down. We might see something along those lines of wrestling coming forward. It's going to be interesting to see how Marlon Vera handles this, though, because this dude, Marlon Vera, he's an absolute dog.
Yeah.
Dog out there, bro. This dude, you want to see a fun fighter, go fight Marlon Vera, go watch his fights. It's very interesting. What I like about him, he's always in the gym. He's always training. You see any video that anybody releases from Rufus Sport, anywhere he trains out of, and he's one of those fighters that bounces around different gyms. So you can catch him in a couple different videos. He's always in the back training. Like, what's up? Always, every single video, man. This dude's always getting it in. It's going to be interesting to see. Derek, my question to you is, who's more of a dog in this fight? Who do you give that edge to in this one?
Bro, that's so tough, because if people don't know about the historic career of Frankie Edgar and you just think about his last 5, you would easily say Chito Vera, man. But Frankie Edgar, man, there's no quit in that man. Quit does not exist in Frankie Edgar. But that's the thing. It's same exact situation for Chito Vera. Except for Chito Vera, he's more open about that David Goggins, I don't give a fuck style. I go in there and we fight, fuck the referees. We go and do this, right? But I just think this is a young man's sport. And Frankie Edgar is 40 years old. Chito Vera is 28. And AJ, the old proverb that always sticks around is that wisdom is a gift and a curse, because the wiser you get, the less risky you become. And with Chito Vera at a prime age of 28 years old, there's a lot of risk left in him. If you're Frankie Edgar, do you want to go through an absolute war, a life-changing war at 40 years old when you're basically at the tail end of your career? He says he'll always be fighting in some capacity, but let's be realistic, man. There's times where you think in your head where you're like, dang, I'm actually thinking, like as you get older and more mature, you're like, I'm actually thinking about the consequence of my action before I do the action, instead of just impulsively just doing it, right? I think that's where Frankie Edgar is at in his career right now. And, listen, that's okay, because that's just the name of the game, man. Father Time is undefeated. undefeated. So to answer your question, at this stage in their career, I got to go Cheeto. If we're talking about in their entirety, overall, you got to give it up to Frankie Edgar, man. Come on, this dude's been doing it for so long. This dude is 24-9-1 in the UFC, or 24-9-1 in MMA, 18-9-1 in the UFC. What are we talking about here? But AJ, this is the question that I have for you here, my man. Cheeto Vera is notoriously a slow starter at times, right? That first round could go Frankie Edgar. Then come 2 and 3, we're like, oh shit, he's turning it back on. Because that's what happened in the David Grant fight, right? It was all David Grant in that first round. It was looking bad for Cheeto, and then he turned it up. And then it was game over for Grant at that point. Do you think that Cheeto Vera is going to try to start quick on this one, or he's going to take his time and feel Frankie Edgar out? Because Frankie Edgar, he's nonstop movement, man. Lateral movement all day long. Very touch-and-go style. And I agree, he has to evade those calf kicks if he wants to win. So what do you think about that?
I think Cheeto Vera maintains the way that got him to the dance, man. I think you have to feel on Frankie Edgar that first round. You go in full pressure. This dude can catch you with something. He doesn't look that like intimidating of a striker. You know, he doesn't have the massive muscles or all the hit list of people KO round ones, but he can catch you. And he, like I said before, man, this dude is very well trained. He sees a hole in your game and you're stepping in, he'll use your momentum against you. I think Cheeto Vera for this one maintains that calmness, maintains that first round of just filling each other out, and then really picks it up. Although that's a questionable strategy in some eyes, man. A lot of people say don't throw away those rounds because those are the ones, they all count. Each, they're all weighed the same. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he does it, but I think he maintains that slow pace, to be honest. What about you?
Okay, no, I agree with you. I think that's just part of his style, man. You just got to feel it out. Then we're going to turn it up a little bit. I think Jason Perillo is his coach out of Black House MMA. I'm not sure, but I think he is. When it comes down to takedowns, man, Frankie Edgar, 2.3 takedowns at a 31% clip on average per fight. 69% takedown defense for Cheeto Vera. We've seen Cheeto Vera has a very strong top game off of his back. It's just a little bit different, right? You don't really want to be sitting there controlled off of his back. He lost his fight to Jose Aldo that way. Do you see Frankie Edgar taking that approach?
Yeah, I do. I think that's the best work for Frankie Edgar is getting this fight to the ground, getting Cheeto on his back, maintaining that top pressure, and working for a ground and pound finish. I don't necessarily see a submission coming this way. Do you?
I mean, no, I don't. I don't think so. I mean, if we're looking at it, right, Frankie Edgar has 14 submission wins in his career. He's never been submitted. Cheeto Vera has 8 submission wins in his career. He's never been submitted. Nah, I don't really see that in the cards, brother. It would be interesting if that did happen, but I don't know who would submit who because both of these dudes are so well versed, man, and so these dudes are so technical in that streak right there. AJ, I just want to point out because we're talking about if Frankie Edgar's game plan is to take Marlon Vera down. Frankie Edgar has secured 2 takedowns in his last 5 fights, so he's been very boxing heavy over these last 5 fights. Maybe that's why he hasn't had that much success. Maybe he needs to go back to his roots. But either way, man, that upright stance of Marlon Vera does leave him susceptible to getting taken down and to body shots, body kicks. But his roundhouse kicks, man, those are night enders, bro. So for Marlon Vera, man, I think he has a very good chance of winning this fight. -165, I think, is an appropriate wagering odd to place for Cheeto Vera, but I think Frankie Edgar, this is do or die for him, and he's going to come ready to go. I really believe that. So who are you picking and why, AJ?
Yeah, I agree, Derek. Those odds are pretty well in line with what I was imagining they were going to be. And me personally, dude, I think fun fights all night long. And you were talking about the kicks of Marlon Vera, but what I like most and what I think is the sneakiest aspect of his game is he has this beautiful step-in vertical elbow. Yup, you already know, man. That step in vertical elbow right up the front, bro. This dude, and you catch a wrestler coming in shooting for that. He's dipping his head while you're coming upwards with that elbow. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Almost like a knee, but you don't give up the legs. Whereas where you throw a knee up the middle, they can still grab on. You might catch them with that knee, but they can still grab on and take you down. The elbow doesn't present that same deficiency. But me personally, man, I see this one going the distance as well. I'm going Marlon Vera on this one. I think it's going to be a dog fight from round 1 to round 3, testing the waters in that first one, making that first round a chess match, and then rounds 2 and 3 are a dog fight. And I'm going this one with Vera, man. What about you?
I'd have to agree with you on that one. I like Cheeto Vera here. I just think that he's younger. He's more spry. I think he's going to want it just a little bit more. They're both going to want it really bad, but Cheeto Vera is at the stage where he wants to fight for a title, man. And he's been that perennial not really top 15, but then like kind of top 15, and now he's at number 13. This is arguably some of the best work he's done in his entire career, even though he's so streaky. So I'm going Chito Vera. I'm going unanimous decision, and that's in line with the odds makers who have the over-under at 2.5, minus 180 for over 2.5, plus 150 for under. So it looks like we're both taking the over on that one. We're both taking the 165 favorite in Chito Vera. All love to Frankie Edgar, man. He's a spectacular staple of the UFC game, but this is a young man's sport, like I said earlier, man, and I think that Chito Vera takes this one. So